camera is mounted high under the eaves of a beige stucco home, angled slightly downward toward the driveway. It's July 18th, 2019, in a quiet, gated neighborhood just north of Scottsdale, Arizona. The street is empty. Porch lights glow softly. At 2:14 a.m., a silver Lexus SUV rolls into frame and stops with precision. A man steps out. He's calm, unhurried. He opens the rear hatch and begins loading items from the garage into the trunk. Plastic bins, a rolled rug, a large dark suitcase. The house behind him is completely dark. No movement. No other person appears. This is the last time Elaine Harper will ever be connected to a camera alive. Elaine Harper was 62 years old when that footage was recorded. To neighbours, she was polite but private. To friends, she was sharp, disciplined, and proud of the life she had built herself. She grew up in Flagstaff, the daughter of a public school teacher and a postal worker, and spent most of her adult life working in medical equipment distribution. For decades, she built a regional company supplying hospitals and outpatient clinics across Arizona and Nevada. She didn't inherit wealth, she earned it. And when she finally sold the company after her husband passed away from a sudden heart attack, the number was staggering. $3.8 million. The sale happened fast. Elaine was tired. Grief had a way of accelerating decisions. She sold the business, downsized her staff, and quietly stepped away. Friends expected her to travel, maybe move closer to her sister in Colorado, maybe volunteer. Instead, Elaine paused. She parked the money in a trust, something her attorney strongly recommended, and told people she wanted time. Time to think, time to breathe, time to not answer to anyone for once. Elaine was careful with money, but she wasn't reckless with people. She trusted slowly. That's what made what came next so unsettling. Daniel Moore entered her life through church. 45 years old, clean cut, married, 2 kids in middle school. He volunteered with the church finance committee and ran a small financial advisory firm out of a mid-rise office near downtown Phoenix. He wasn't flashy. He talked about conservative strategies, long-term planning, protecting assets. People described him as old school, the kind of guy who shook hands firmly and looked you in the eye. Elaine was introduced to Daniel by a mutual acquaintance who said, "He helped us after my dad passed, just talked us through things." Elaine didn't sign anything right away. She met Daniel for coffee first, then lunch, then a meeting with her attorney present. CCTV footage from a bank lobby shows them walking in together for the first time. Elaine leads. Daniel follows a step behind, holding a folder. It looks ordinary, almost boring. Over the next several months, their relationship deepened professionally. Daniel helped Elaine restructure her trust, move funds into different accounts, and set up a predictable monthly draw so she could live comfortably without thinking about market swings. Elaine liked that. She liked not worrying. Bank cameras show them together again and again. Parking garage footage captures Daniel waiting by the elevator while Elaine fumbles with her purse. To anyone watching, it looks like a client and her advisor, nothing more. Eventually, Elaine granted Daniel limited power of attorney for financial transactions. It wasn't unusual. The paperwork was narrow. He could move money between accounts within the trust. He couldn't change beneficiaries. He couldn't withdraw large sums without documentation. Elaine felt protected. She told friends, "It's just in case something happens. I don't want my sister dealing with paperwork." For a while, everything seemed fine. Elaine hosted small dinner parties. She took up watercolor painting. She talked about maybe buying a condo near Sedona. But behind the scenes, small things began to change. The first red flag was subtle. An ATM withdrawal at 11:47 p.m. for $2,000. Elaine didn't use ATMs late at night. She rarely used cash at all. The bank flagged it. as unusual, but Daniel explained it away as a temporary transfer to cover a short-term investment opportunity. Elaine accepted the explanation, but she mentioned it to a friend anyway. "It just felt off," she said, "but I might be overthinking." Then came the trust amendments. 2 changes in 6 months, minor on paper, adjustments to language about incapacity, a clause naming a successor trustee if Elaine were deemed unable to manage her affairs. That successor was Daniel. Elaine signed the documents after Daniel told her it was standard housekeeping. She trusted him. She always trusted him. CCTV footage from Elaine's bank branch shows Daniel entering alone on multiple occasions. Days Elaine told friends she wasn't feeling well. Days she said she stayed home. Daniel would sit with a banker, slide papers across the desk, nod, leave. Always calm, always alone. By the spring of 2019, Elaine's unease had grown. She confided in her close friend Marjorie, someone she'd known since college. Over a phone call that lasted 43 minutes, Elaine said she felt like things were moving too fast. She said she wanted to pull everything back, review the trust with a different attorney, maybe revoke Daniel's power of attorney altogether. Phone metadata later confirmed that call. Elaine sounded clear, alert, determined. 3 days later, Daniel showed up at Elaine's house, unannounced. Exterior camera footage from Elaine's driveway shows the Lexus pulling in just before noon. Daniel steps out, no briefcase this time. He walks to the door and stands there for almost 2 minutes before it opens. The footage has no audio, but neighbours later said they heard raised voices. That visit lasted over 2 hours. Elaine didn't tell anyone what was said, but after that day she stopped responding to Daniel's emails. She didn't schedule another meeting. She called her attorney and asked for copies of every document she'd signed in the past year. She sounded shaken, according to staff. She scheduled an appointment for the following week. She never made it. On July 17th, 2019, Elaine went about her day like normal. She was seen on a grocery store camera buying produce. A gas station camera caught her pumping gas around 4:30 p.m. She waved at the clerk. She smiled. That evening, her neighbourhood gate camera recorded Daniel's Lexus entering just after 8 p.m. He stayed much longer than usual, past midnight. At 12:36 a.m., the Lexus exited the neighbourhood. Elaine did not appear on any camera after that point. Not her doorbell camera, not her driveway, not a single store or intersection. Nothing. When Elaine didn't show up for her attorney appointment the next morning, no one panicked at first. She was retired. She liked her space. But by the end of the day, when her phone went straight to voicemail and her sister couldn't reach her, concern grew. A welfare check was requested. Police found the house locked, no signs of forced entry. Elaine's purse was inside. Her phone was on the kitchen counter. Her bed had not been slept in. There was no blood, no obvious struggle. The case was initially treated as a missing person. Maybe she left voluntarily. Maybe she needed space. Wealthy retirees disappear sometimes. But cameras don't lie. And in this case, cameras were everywhere. Detectives began reconstructing Elaine's final 72 hours using footage, traffic cameras, gas stations, retail stores, neighbourhood gates. They mapped Daniel's movements too. His story was simple. He said he stopped by to drop off paperwork, said Elaine was fine, said he left before midnight. Cameras contradicted him. The break came from a storage facility on the outskirts of Phoenix. CCTV footage from the early morning hours of July 18th shows Daniel's Lexus pulling into the facility. He opens a rented unit, moves heavy containers inside. One of them appears to be the same dark suitcase seen in Elaine's driveway footage. He wipes his hands on his jeans, closes the unit, leaves. That same morning, $300,000 was transferred out of Elaine's trust into an account controlled by Daniel's firm. The transaction was flagged immediately. Elaine hadn't authorised it. She couldn't have. She was already gone. Search warrants followed quickly. Investigators seized Daniel's computer, phone, and financial records. Forensic accountants uncovered a mess. Daniel's business was failing. He had personal debts, credit cards maxed out, a second mortgage. The trust amendments suddenly looked less like housekeeping and more like preparation. When police searched the storage unit, they found evidence no amount of money could hide. Elaine Harper's body was discovered inside one of the containers. The medical examiner later determined she died from blunt force trauma. She had been killed inside her own home. Daniel Moore was arrested without incident. In interviews, he denied everything, said the money transfer was a mistake, said the storage unit was for business equipment, but the cameras told a different story, every movement, every lie. In court, prosecutors played the footage piece by piece, the driveway, the bank, the storage unit. Jurors watched silently as the story unfolded without words. Elaine's family didn't need testimony to understand what happened. They saw it. Daniel Moore was convicted of first-degree murder and financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Elaine Harper never got to enjoy the peaceful future she planned. The money she worked her entire life to earn became the reason she was betrayed by the one person she trusted to protect it. In the end, it wasn't a confession that revealed the truth. It was cameras, silent, unblinking, recording everything. Because sometimes the last camera to see you isn't just watching, it's waiting.